In 1977, I started my first underwater artificial reef film. 25 years later, in 2002, I found myself returning to the park to film artificial reefs once again. The technology had changed significantly, but unfortunately, so had Pennicamp Park. The underwater reefs were no longer alive and vibrant. Over the past 5 years, 37% of the corals in Pennicamp Park have died. In this short video clip, I present parts of my old film and parts of the new film. Pennicamp Park is no longer a healthy reef. In 1983, this was the most magnificent brain coral head in all of Pennicamp Park. Today, it is almost gone. In 1983, the reef seemed healthy. The fish were abundant. The elkhorn and staghorn corals were not diseased, they weren't broken, they seemed to be in beautiful condition. Divers from all around the world came to Pennicamp to see the beautiful reefs and fish. Back in 1975, the popular technology for building artificial reefs was primarily using used rubber tires. These tires by the millions were bundled and dropped all around the Gulf of Mexico and Florida. They were done at a very cheap price, only $1 per tire. However, removing these tires, which has caused many problems underwater, cost $20 a tire. A total failure for the rubber tire program.
Another type of experimental reef is being developed by the United States Geologic Survey, using concrete domes which are rather like large, rounded colonies of brain coral. Each dome bears a few transplanted colonies of a selection of corals to see how they get on the open seabed where corals never grew before. The base of one dome is a thermograph, which records the temperature of the water, a crucial condition for survival. Even if the temperature is right, the water might be too cloudy. Corals need sunlight as well as warmth. As these pictures show, the waters of Florida shores are not always crystal clear. The temperature of the water is a matter for nature, but much of the silt drifting about here is man's responsibility. This work with real corals growing in artificial settings will help to determine the tolerance of certain corals to silt and to variations in the water temperature. Already, fish are taking stock of the new seabed scenery, and a series of photographs shows that all the corals are growing, even in conditions which had been thought to be unsuitable. Work of this kind should soon establish the best types of corals for planting out in places where human activities or natural calamities have destroyed the original reef. An interesting fact that has emerged is that reef fish are very loyal to their home reef. Once they've settled in, they seldom move more than 50 yards away. If the individual colonies in the new reefs are more widely spaced, each will develop as its own mini-reef with very little interchange. Planting the coral clumps closer together will produce a situation more like a natural reef. The work will be slow because most coral grows very slowly, about half an inch a year in height. Not far from here, on a reef called the Hen and Chickens, 90% of the coral was killed in January 1970 by an unusually prolonged flow of cold water caused by freak weather conditions. In one day, hundreds of years' growth of coral was reduced to a rotting skeleton. No one living today will see the Hen and Chickens reef recover. But the work of these scientists, underwater landscape gardeners, will help by trying to maintain the conditions which the coral animals need to build their delicate and fragile homes. Natural disasters must have happened often in the past, and each time the coral slowly grew back. But then the sea was clean and clear. Obsolete ships from the American Navy had been sunk deliberately to provide homes for fishes. The rails are now thickly encrusted with algae and corals. And from his headquarters in the wheelhouse, an aged 6-foot grouper commands the silent ship.
These images from 1983 remind me of how truly beautiful Pennicamp used to be. The evolution of the artificial reef has changed drastically over the past 25 years. We are light years ahead from the dark ages of rubber tire artificial reefs. Today's artificial reefs are designed in the research laboratory. It takes an entire team to produce and build a new artificial reef. The reef modules are designed on land and assembled there. They're then taken to the barge. On board the barge, they are readied for delivery on the sea bottom. A cement slurry mix is prepared on board the barge with the cement mixer. There's even a bulldozer there. Special hardeners are put in the cement. The artificial reef module is actually composed of limestone rock, the very same limestone that's found in naturally occurring coral reefs. These modules, which weigh several thousand pounds, are being carefully guided into place. The actual layout is much the same as a community development above ground. It's just like a housing project. Only this housing project is for spiny lobsters and fish and other marine organisms. Once the module hits bottom, the support lines are unclipped, the eye bolts are removed, and the whole process is very quick and efficient, much the same as you would above water. The final alignment is checked, and then the process of pumping down the cement begins. With the quick hardeners, the cement is hardened in no time, and the reef is secured firmly in place. The result of litigation in the state of Florida for a freighter that went aground resulted in money to build this artificial reef. The extra limestone rocks are placed so that other marine organisms can attach there. Off Tampa, Florida, there is another artificial reef. The same modules, only this one's about 3 months old. You can see that the marine growth has already started and the fish have moved in. There are still too many questions that remain unanswered. We don't know why our coral reefs are dying here in Florida. The researchers at the National Marine Sanctuary and elsewhere are looking for the solutions. Meanwhile, we'll keep up with the artificial reef program and hope that someday in the future the reefs will look like they used to look in 1983.